Good afternoon. I'm really excited to be here to talk to you about my passion, and that's school food service. I started in this profession 27 years ago, and I will tell you straight out of school, I never thought I'd be in school food service. I had friends that tried to recruit me, and I was like, "Ugh, I'm a clinical dietitian. I am not going to work in a school." And I had the opportunity, actually, to work as a director in a school system in Texas, and I've never looked back. I'm really excited because every single day I can impact kids' nutrition and hopefully prevent them from getting long-term illnesses. I'm also a self-proclaimed foodie. I've been scratch cooking for, that's actually what kind of got me into dietetics, that and diabetes. And so I love food, and I'm passionate about it, and I love to take that passion and pass it on to my kids at Portland. So let me tell you a little bit about our program. We have actually been working on changing the distribution system as well as purchasing regional and sustainable food for the past 8 to 9 years. And so if you look on the slides here, on the left, that's kind of where we started. And we wanted to move to more of a lunch that's on the right side of the slide. And that is one of our current lunches, and that actually is a lunch that we served as a local lunch, and I'll tell you a little bit more about local lunch, about 7 years ago. I want to describe the lunch to you a little bit. This particular lunch, the center entree is a 3-bean vegetarian chili that we have worked with a local distributor, a food producer, Truett Brothers, one of our very first partners in this work. And so we still serve that on the menu, and the kids love it. Then you'll see our local blueberries from Oregon and our local pear. Pear is the fruit of Oregon. And then the other items are also from Oregon. The chips are made in Oregon. The cornbread's made by a local bakery. And then we also have the salsa. I don't know if you could tell what that is on the top left, how clear the picture is. And it's made by our produce company using some local ingredients and some that are not as local. And so that's a good example of a lunch that we serve in our schools. Okay, so it is a bit of a challenge to try to change the distribution system, and so I want to talk about two of the biggest for us. Portland is a large district, and as you can see, we have 47,000 students, and we serve about 21,000 lunches alone each day. So you can imagine that's a lot of food. And then we also serve, you can see the other programs, breakfast and supper. We have a fresh fruit and vegetable program also. So an example of the quantity that we're looking at when we serve just apples on the menu on a particular day, and we serve those weekly, we have to buy between 250 and 300 cases of apples. And so it's a challenge to find farmers that are able to produce that. And we have a number of farmers that we do work with, and specifically on apples. Somebody in Parkdale, Keokawa Orchards. We've worked with Randy now for the past 5 years. So we're really lucky in that he's able to provide us with those apples, and he also provides pears to us. So one of a benefit that we have in our schools is that we have a central distribution system, which means that we have a central commissary, and so all the farmers, ranchers, any food that we buy is delivered centrally to our warehouse, and then we distribute it out to the schools. And that really helps our smaller businesses because they don't have the capacity to deliver to 85 sites. So that is something that helps. So another challenge, as you can see here on the slide, is limited funds. We receive about $3.06 for a lunch from USDA. And that has to cover food, has to cover labor, has to cover the benefits I pay to the staff, and overhead, so I have to buy my own equipment. And we're expected to break even. We don't get any local tax dollars from the district budget or from the state. So as you can imagine, that's pretty challenging. Just to give you a couple of figures, we pay just in benefits alone $13,000 per employee. So you can imagine with 230 employees and $3.06, we have quite a challenge. But I love the challenge. So it's just something I always try to make work. So based on that, we have about $1.35 to spend on lunch for food alone. So if any of you shop, which I bet many of you do go shop, I mean, how many of you could put a meal together like that would cost $1.35? It's a challenge. Being large does help because of the quantity we buy, we get competitive pricing. And then we're also, because of the federal procurement guidelines, expected to purchase competitively, which means we have to get quotes. We have to and for certain items, we even have to do bids or requests for proposals, if you're familiar with that. So I just want to talk a little bit about how much we have to spend on the different foods. So the tray that you see here is a sample tray of the foods that are required to be served at lunch. We have to serve milk, and that costs us 22 cents, and that can vary from month to month, but the average cost has been about 22 cents. Fruits and vegetables have to be offered, and that can range 25 to 30 cents, depending on the fruit or vegetable. And then there's our pizza, and that's our entree, and so we have to offer a protein and a whole grain. I just want to tell you a little bit about this pizza. This is a local pizza. We work with a local company to make a pizza for us, and we have a cheese pizza. They use shepherd's grain flour, and if you're familiar with that flour, it's grown in eastern Washington. It's sustainably grown. And then we top our pizzas with all sorts of different things, and that's why we buy a cheese pizza. It allows us to use the produce that's grown in the gardens, and this particular pizza does show that. We have some peppers there that we top the pizza with. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background, because a lot